What separates a patch pocket from a professional cargo pocket is the structure, the volume, and the finishing. Most people can sew a pocket, but very few can create a professional 3D pocket that stands out. In this video, I will be showing you the exact method for drafting, constructing, and placing a cargo pocket with flap correctly. In this tutorial, you will be learning how to create the pocket expansion, how to achieve that professional box effect, and how to position everything perfectly on your garment. My name is Bolaji and this is Regi School of Fashion. In drafting a 3D cargo pocket pattern, the first step is to decide the measurement you want. So that is how big you want your pocket to be. The standard measurement is 7 inches by 7.5 inches. But I want mine to be a little bit bigger, so I used 7.5 by 8 inches. You can as well go as much as using 8 inches by 8 inches. So if you use 8 inches by 8 inches, you will have a perfect square shape. So here is the measurement I measured out. As you can see, I have all my lines drawn out and properly labeled, which I will explain into details. So from the edges of my pattern paper to this line is my pocket opening finishing. So this is what I will be using in finishing the opening of the pocket. So I used 1 inch. From this edge to this line is 1 inch. So then I have the height of my pocket measured as 8 inches. So that is the length of the pocket. So this is what determines how long or deep the pocket will be. From this line downward to this point. From here to here, 8 inches here. From here to here, 8 inches. Then for the wideness of my pocket, the measurement is from this point to this point. That is 7.5 inches. Then at the lower part as well, from here to here, 7.5 inches. And because this is a 3D cargo pocket, which we are going to have that box effect, we need to add the pocket expansion by the sides, so which is 1 inch. So after the 7.5 inches measurement, I took this forward by 1 inch as well. So that is why I labeled this as pocket expansion, 1 inch. From here to here, that is 1 inch. From here to here, 1 inch. Then I connected this downward. On the other side as well, I have pocket expansion of 1 inch. So which means from this point to this point is 7.5. From this point to this point is 1 inch. From this point to this point, 7.5. From this point to this point is 1 inch. So after the pocket expansion by the sides, then I come to the lower part of my pocket. Then I added 1 inch as well for the bottom effect. So this is what will give us that box effect below the pocket. So from the height of the pocket, which is the 8 inches, then I extended this downward by 1 inch. So from here to here is 1 inch. That is why I have this line as below effect 1 inch. So 1 inch here for the pocket opening, 1 inch here for the pocket expansion, which will be pleated. On the other side, 1 inch as well. The below effect, that is 1 inch as well. So after marking this out, then I added half of an inch of seam allowance. I added half of an inch by the side. You can see I have it from the pocket opening downward to the below effect. Half of an inch here, half of an inch here, and half of an inch here. Half of an inch here, half of an inch here, and half of an inch here. So in total, all the measurements I have in total together with the expansion and seam allowance for the width of my pocket is 10.5 inches. I took the measurement on 1 inch points. So this is 10.5 inches. which has to be the same as what I have at the lower part. Then for the length of my pocket, together with the pocket opening, below effect and the seam allowance, I have 10.5 inches as well. So this is 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches. But the real measurement for the pocket is going to be 8 inches by 7.5 inches. And every other measurement will be used in achieving the 3D effect of our cargo pockets. So I will be cutting out my pocket pattern. Now I have my cargo pocket pattern cut out, as you can see. Now I will come to the lower part of the pocket, which is where I wrote below effect. So pay a closer attention to this shape. Can you see this shape? From the lower part to this point, then I will cross it outward like so. You can see this shape. On the other side, so what I have outside this shape will be going off. So before cutting this off, I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch for my seam allowance. So I will take this, measure my seam allowance forward like so, because I'm going to be stitching on the marked lines. 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch is enough. Quarter of an inch here, then 1/4 of an inch here. So now you can see what I have. Then I can now cut out the remaining part. So I will be cutting like so, from here to the midpoint here, then outward like so. You can see what I have. Then on the other side, I will repeat the same process. After trimming off the lower part, this is what I have for my cargo pocket pattern. So now the next step is to draft the flap. So that is a pattern for the flap that will cover up the pockets. Now it's time to draft pattern for our cargo pocket flap. So in doing this, the measurement I will be using will be 8 inches by 3 inches. The 8 inches is for the wideness of the pocket. For the pocket itself, I use 7.5 inches. But because the edges has to be covered up properly, so I will add extra 1/2 of an inch to this measurement in order to make it 8 inches. So what we'll be using for the measurement depends on the measurement you use for your pocket wideness. If yours is 8 inches, then you will add 1/2 of an inch. If yours is 7 inches, then you will add 1/2 of an inch for the flap. Then the height of the flap I will be using will be 3 inches. The standard measurement is 2 inches, but if you want yours to be very obvious, you can make it 2.5. That is why I'm making mine 3 inches. So I will be measuring 3 inches by 8 inches. I have my pattern on fold, so instead of measuring 8 inches, I will measure 4 inches. Then for the height of the flap, I'm going to include my seam allowance of 1/2 of an inch at the upper part and lower part. So that is 1 inch in total. Then by the side as well, I need 1/2 of an inch of seam allowance. This is supposed to be 8 inches, and 1/2 of 8 inches is 4 inches. So I will be adding my 1/2 of an inch of seam allowance straight away. So I will measure 4.5 inches. I'm taking my measurement from the 1 inch point, and I'll mark out my 4.5 inches. So my seam allowance is included. Then for the height, I will make this 4 inches. Okay, that's all guys. I can proceed in cutting out the flap pattern. Now I have my fabrics cut out using the pattern we drafted earlier, and this is what I have. I added extra 1 inch besides my pattern and extra 1 inch below the pocket bag in order to make the 3D shape come out more perfectly. So that was why I decided to add extra 1 inch. So instead of having 1.5 inches after the real measurement, I have 2.5 inches in total here, and below also I have 2.5 inches. Then I cut out my flap. So this is 2 pieces and this is 2 pieces, so I have 4 pieces in total. And for the pockets, for the cargo pocket itself, I cut out 2 pieces, one for the left hand side and one for the right hand side. So this is going to be the end of this tutorial. Let's meet in the next video where I will be showing you how to construct a 3D cargo pocket. Till then, always do remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.